Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to dive into something that's probably crossed your mind. If you're anything like me, why do some of us just hate having visitors over? You know, that feeling when the doorbell rings unexpectedly and your stomach drops a little, or when a friend suggests popping by and you immediately start thinking of excuses? Society tells us we're supposed to love company, right? We're meant to thrive on social interactions, get buzzed from crowds, conversations, and all that constant contact. If you don't enjoy hosting people, if you'd rather chill by yourself than play host, then apparently something's wrong with you. You're broken, you need fixing, or you're just antisocial. But hold on a second, let's flip that narrative, because here is the delicious irony. The folks who feel most uncomfortable with visitors are often the ones who get something really profound about life. They understand the nature of energy, the structure of their own self, and the sacredness of personal space. They're not running from life, they're safeguarding something precious. They're honoring a truth that the always social, perpetually available crowd has totally forgotten. Let me paint a picture for you. Your home isn't just four walls and a roof where you stash your stuff and crash at night. Nah, it's way more than that. Your home is essentially you, it's the physical extension of your inner world. Every room, every little corner, every quiet nook mirrors some part of your psyche. When someone steps through your door, they're not just entering a building, they're crossing into your soul. Think about it like this. After a long day out there, wearing your social mask, being the employee, the buddy, the responsible grown-up, you finally get home. What are you doing? You're shedding that role, dropping the guard, and just breathing easy. Home is where the performance ends, and the real you begins. Then, bam, the doorbell chimes. Suddenly you're back in action, putting on that gracious host vibe, making small talk, being all pleasant. Even in your sanctuary, you're performing again. No wonder it feels off. No surprise, something inside you pushes back. But let's dig deeper, because this isn't just about saving your energy or keeping your peace, though those are solid reasons. It's about how you're fundamentally wired. Humans connect with the world in two main ways. Some people, let's call them the extroverts, pull energy from outside. They recharge through interactions, stimulation, and being around others. Put them in a party, and they glow like a holiday light show. The external world fills their tank right up, but others, and maybe this is you, operate the opposite. Your energy bubbles up from inside. Solitude, silence, and no outside demands. That's your recharge. The world drains you, doesn't top you off. Your home is your refill station, where you replenish that inner well. Once you grasp this, everything shifts. You're not being a pain when you skip on visitors. You're not antisocial for wanting an empty house over a packed one. You're just tuning into how your system works. A violin doesn't say sorry for not banging like a drum. A river doesn't apologize for flowing down. Why should you feel bad for needing alone time like others need crowds? And get this, your aversion to guests might reveal even more about your inner state. We all lug around this shadow side, the stuff we've shoved down like suppressed emotions, buried fears, or personality bits we've hidden because they didn't fit society's mold. When someone enters your space, especially if you're sensitive, it can stir that up. Your psyche's like, whoa, not ready for this. It's protecting itself, keeping things intact while you sort your inner mess. Having company makes that self-work grind to a halt. Imagine you're piecing together an intricate puzzle on your table. Pieces everywhere, patterns emerging, connections clicking. Then someone barges in and jostles everything, boom, scattered. You start over. That's visitors when you're deep in self-reflection. But there's this symbolic layer too, which not many touch on. Your house symbolizes your soul in dreams. Houses represent the self. The living room's your public face, the bedroom your vulnerable core. Inviting someone in means letting them into your temple. If you're serious about self-growth, knowing your soul's terrain, visitors can feel invasive, even from loved ones. Real becoming happens in privacy, silence, alone with your thoughts, feelings, questions, fears, no performances, no pleasing others. This leads to something key, that social mask. It's not fake, but it's partial, an adaptation for the world. Wear it too long, even at home, and you drift from your true self. Every forced welcome, every fake chat when you crave quiet, every acted friendliness when your soul wants solitude, that's self-abandonment. You're picking social norms over your needs. And the trap? You've done it so long, guilt kicks in for wanting alone time. You think you should love hosting, be more hospitable, more outgoing. But who set that rule? Who says the perfect person is always open, always ready for company? Truth is, some are built for depth over breadth. Some for deep bonds with few, not shallow ones with many. Some for long solo stretches, not hating people, but doing vital work in solitude. Think of the hermit archetype in myths, the wise one retreating for insight, not a loser, but a seeker. In our hyper-stimulated era, with phones buzzing, messages stacking, obligations endless, people burn out wondering why they're scattered. They've lost the art of alone time. The soul needs silence like the body needs rest. When you resist visitors, you're not dodging life, you're embracing it. You're valuing your inner world, peace, energy. You're boldly defying social pressures. The world might call you wrong, family difficult, friends antisocial. But deep down you know, alone, you're most you. Silence is homecoming. Solitude isn't empty, it's rich. Those who drain you aren't villains. They're just on a different beat. They thrive on what tires you. Let them party. You, choose your path. Say no. Guard your solitude like gold. The world needs hermits too, deep thinkers, question sitters, undistracted by social noise. People who master alone without lonely, find wealth in quiet, see fullness in empty rooms. Your visitor discomfort signals your depth calling. Don't skim surfaces. Dive in. Honor that resistance, its wisdom, saying protect your inner world, your energy is precious. Stop fighting your nature, drop the guilt, and magic happens. More authentic, present. When you do connect, it's from fullness, not emptiness. To fill up, you need silence. Space, your home a sanctuary, not stage. No demands, no masks, just being. Next time resistance hits with a visit request, don't judge. Listen, it's guarding your sacred self. You're not obligated to open doors always. Say not today. True friends get boundaries. Respect your peace over their wants. Your home's your temple, solitude your ritual, silence your guide. Close the door if needed. Ignore the ring. Sit in quiet. Breathe, feel, notice what emerges, sans performance. That's self-discovery, wholeness, real work solo. The outer world clamors, but your inner one needs guarding. Say no outside to yes inside. Not escape, but return to source, recalling you without others' expectations. If that means fewer guests, more alone evenings, cool. You live with you, most nurture that bond with time, space, silence. Your home isn't public. The comfier with solitude, the truer connections. Honor silence, be present when engaging. That authenticity? Gold. Trust your resistance, its essential wisdom for thriving. You're not broken, you're self-aware. Protect what's yours. In part 1, we talked about how society pushes this idea that we're all supposed to be social butterflies. But for some of us, solitude is where the magic happens. We explored how your home is like an extension of your soul, and how visitors can feel like an intrusion on that sacred space. Now, let's build on that and go even further into the psychology behind it, plus some practical ways to embrace your inner hermit without the guilt. First off, let's revisit that wiring we mentioned, the introvert-extrovert spectrum. It's not black and white, right? Most of us fall somewhere in between. But if you're leaning more toward needing alone time to recharge, you're in good company. Think about famous introverts like Albert Einstein, who once said, "The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind." Or J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series in cafes but still craved her private space to let ideas percolate. These aren't people who shunned society entirely. They just knew when to draw the line. So, if your energy tanks when the house fills up, it's not a defect. It's your brain's way of optimizing for depth over distraction. Now, imagine this. You've had a brutal week, meetings, errands, small talk with neighbors. You finally get home, kick off your shoes, and sink into your favorite chair with a book, or maybe just staring at the wall, letting your thoughts wander. That's your reset button. But then a well-meaning relative calls and says, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood, mind if I swing by?" Your heart sinks. Why? Because that visit, even if it's short, requires shifting gears. You have to tidy up a bit, brew coffee, engage in chit-chat about the weather or family drama. It's not that you don't care, it's that this interrupts your refueling process. Psychologists call this context switching, and it burns more mental energy than you think. For someone who's externally drained, it's like trying to charge your phone with a faulty cord, inefficient and frustrating. But here's where it gets fascinating. This resistance might stem from something evolutionary. Back in the day, humans lived in tribes where social bonds were crucial for survival. Being on all the time meant safety in numbers. Fast forward to today, and we're still wired for connection, but our modern lives are overloaded with it. Social media, Zoom calls, group chats. For those of us who are more inwardly focused, the home becomes the last bastion of control. It's where we can curate our environment perfectly. The lighting, the sounds, or lack thereof, the scents. A visitor disrupts that equilibrium. They bring their energy, their stories, their expectations. And if you're empathetic or highly sensitive, which many solitude lovers are, you absorb that like a sponge, leaving you wrung out. Let's talk about boundaries, because this is huge. Setting them isn't rude, it's self-preservation. Picture your energy as a finite resource, like a battery. Extroverts might have solar panels that soak up juice from interactions, but yours is more like a quiet generator that hums best in isolation. When you say yes to every visit, you're depleting that battery faster than it can recharge. Over time, this leads to burnout, resentment, or even health issues like anxiety or fatigue. Studies from places like the American Psychological Association show that chronic social overstimulation can spike cortisol levels, messing with your sleep and immune system. So, honoring your no isn't selfish, it's smart health management. Now, how do you actually implement this without alienating everyone? Start small. If a friend wants to drop by, suggest meeting at a neutral spot instead, a coffee shop or park. That way, you get the connection without sacrificing your sanctuary. Or set time limits. Sure, come over for 30 minutes, I've got plans after. This frames it positively. And for family, be honest but kind. Something like, "I love seeing you, but I need some downtime right now to recharge. How about next week?" Most people get it, especially if you explain it's not personal. If they push back, that's on them, not you. Remember, true relationships respect boundaries. The ones that don't might need reevaluating. Diving deeper into the shadow side we touched on earlier, that's the Jungian concept of the unconscious parts we hide. Visitors can accidentally shine a light on those, triggering discomfort. Maybe your home is messy because you're processing emotional clutter, and having someone see that feels exposing. Or perhaps their presence reminds you of past intrusions, like overbearing parents who never knocked. This isn't about blaming others. It's about recognizing patterns. Journaling can help here. Next time you feel that recoil, write down what comes up. Is it fear of judgment? Exhaustion from masking? This self-inquiry turns resistance into insight. Symbolically, your home's layout tells a story. The front door is the gateway to your public self. The kitchen a place of nurturing. The study or den your intellectual haven. When guests roam freely, it can feel like they're traipsing through your minds, rooms uninvited. In many cultures, homes have sacred elements. Think Japanese tea rooms for quiet reflection or Native American sweat lodges for introspection. Embracing this view, you might create a visitor zone, like just the living room, keeping bedrooms off limits. This maintains some control. And let's not forget the joy of solitude. It's not lonely, it's liberating. In alone time, creativity flourishes. Ideas connect without interruption. Artists, writers, scientists, all swear by it. Thoreau went to Walden Pond to live deliberately, finding profound truths in isolation. You don't need a cabin. Your apartment works fine. Use that time for hobbies, painting, meditating, cooking experiments. Over time, you'll crave it less guiltily, seeing it as essential fuel. But balance is key. Total isolation isn't healthy. Either we need human touch points for perspective and growth. Aim for quality over quantity. Deep conversations with one friend versus superficial chats with 10. Schedule social stuff on your terms, when your energy's high. This way, when you do host, it's genuine enjoyment, not obligation. In our always-on world, reclaiming solitude is rebellious. Social media glorifies busy calendars and packed houses, but that's not for everyone. You're not missing out. You're opting into a richer inner life. Next time guilt creeps in, remind yourself, rivers don't apologize for their course. Neither should you. As we wrap this part, think about auditing your space. What makes it feel sacred? Plants, books, cozy lighting? Nurture that. Your home, your rules. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore real-life stories and more tips. Hey folks, welcome to part 3 of this series on embracing your aversion to visitors. Turns out, it's not a bug, it's a feature. If you've been following along, we covered the basics in part 1. How society shames us for wanting solitude and why your home is basically your soul's HQ. In part 2, we dug into the psychology, like introvert wiring, setting boundaries, and turning resistance into self-care. Now, let's get into some real-life examples, because nothing hits home like hearing stories from people who've been there. I'll share anonymized tales from my community, plus tips on redesigning your space and life to honor that inner peace. Grab a coffee, settle in, we're going deep. First, let's talk about Sarah. She's a graphic designer in her 30 seconds, works from home, and used to force herself to host brunches because that's what adults do. But every time, she'd end up exhausted, snapping at her partner later, feeling like her creative spark fizzled out. One day, after a particularly draining family visit, she hit a wall. She realized it wasn't the people, it was the invasion of her workflow. Her living room doubled as her studio, filled with sketches and mood boards that were extensions of her brain. Visitors meant hiding the mess, explaining projects, or worse, getting unsolicited advice. So, she started saying no more often. Instead, she meets friends at cafes or parks. Result? Her productivity soared, and when she does invite someone over, it's on her terms, like a quick coffee in the kitchen only. Sarah's story shows how protecting your space can supercharge your work and well-being. Then there's Mike, a teacher who loves his students but comes home drained from all that extroverted energy. Weekends were his recharge time, but his extroverted wife loved spontaneous drop-ins from neighbors. It created tension. He'd retreat to the bedroom, feeling guilty for not joining. They talked it out, and now they have quiet zones. The den is Mike's no-visitor sanctuary, with books, a comfy chair, and noise-canceling headphones. Visitors stay in the common areas. This compromise saved their marriage and taught Mike that communicating needs isn't selfish. It's essential. If you're in a shared home, this is gold. Designate personal spaces where solitude rules. These stories highlight a common thread: guilt. We feel it because culture equates hospitality with goodness. Think holidays, big gatherings are joyful, right? But for many they're overwhelming. Remember Thanksgiving blow-ups? Often from forced mingling without escape. To combat guilt, reframe it. Ask, what if solitude is my superpower? It lets you process emotions, spark ideas, even improve relationships by showing up fully when you do engage. Research from the Journal of Personality backs this. Introverts who honor alone time report higher life satisfaction. So, next time guilt nags, journal why you feel it. Is it from childhood, like parents who prized popularity? Unpacking that frees you. Now, let's pivot to practical redesign. Your home setup can amplify or ease visitor discomfort. Start with entryways, make them welcoming but bounded. A cozy bench outside or a small foyer table signals this is as far as casual visits go. Use subtle barriers like plants or screens to section off private areas. Lighting matters. Too dim, warm lights in personal spaces create a cocoon feel, while brighter ones in social zones keep energy up without inviting deep intrusion. Aromatherapy helps. lavender or sandalwood for calm in your sanctuary. And declutter minimalism reduces visual noise, making alone time more restorative. If you're renting, get creative with room dividers or tapestries. Tech can be your ally here. Smart doorbells let you screen visitors without answering, see who's there via app, decide if it's worth the energy. Set do not disturb modes on phones during recharge hours. Apps like Focus at Will offer ambient sounds for solitude sessions, blocking out world noise. But beware tech traps. Social media can make you feel more isolated by showing everyone's perfect social lives. Curate your feed. Follow accounts on introvert life, like at Introvert Dear on Instagram for validation. Speaking of community, find your tribe. Online forums like Reddit's introvert or introvert-focused Facebook groups are lifesavers. Share stories, get advice on politely declining invites. One tip from there, the sandwich method, positive, no positive. Like, I'd love to catch up, but tonight's my downtime. How about lunch next week? It softens the blow. And for persistent pushers, firm boundaries. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I need to keep my home private right now. Practice in the mirror if it feels awkward. Let's explore the creative side of solitude. Without visitors, you've got uninterrupted time for passions. Write that novel, learn guitar, experiment with recipes. History is full of solitary geniuses. Newton formulated gravity laws in isolation during the plague. You might not revolutionize physics, but you could revolutionize your life. Try solitude dates. Treat yourself to a home spa night, stargazing from your balcony, or deep diving a podcast series. These build self-reliance and joy independent of others. But what if loneliness creeps in? It's different from solitude. Loneliness is unwanted isolation. Combat it by scheduling meaningful connections. A weekly video call with a close friend, joining a low-key book club. Quality trumps quantity. Studies show deep relationships boost happiness more than broad networks. If it's chronic, therapy helps cognitive behavioral techniques rewire guilt patterns. Culturally, views on solitude vary. In Japan, hikikomori describes extreme withdrawal, but there's also valuing empty space for reflection. Nordic countries embrace higi-cozy alone time. Borrow these. Create a higanook with blankets, tea, journals. It normalizes solitude as nurturing, not negative. As we near the end of this part, reflect. How has pushing through visitor discomfort affected you? Maybe lost creativity, strained ties, burnout. Flipping to honor it brings peace, authenticity, growth. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social, preserving energy for what matters. We've covered the societal pressure to be super social, how your home is your inner sanctuary, the introvert recharge mechanics, real stories from folks like you, and ways to redesign your space for peace. Today, we're tackling the tough stuff, dealing with pushback from others when you set those boundaries, plus the incredible long-term payoffs of owning your solitude. We'll also weave in some mindfulness practices to make it stick. Let's jump in. First up, handling the backlash, because let's face it, not everyone's going to cheer when you start saying no. Picture this. You've mustered the courage to tell your chatty neighbor, sorry, not a good time for a visit, and they give you that look like you've just kicked their puppy. Or worse, family members label you reclusive at gatherings. This pushback stings because it taps into that ingrained guilt we talked about. But remember, their reaction is often about them, not you. Extroverts might see your no as rejection because their world thrives on inclusion. They don't get that for you. It's preservation. So, how do you navigate this without burning bridges? Start with empathy and clarity. When someone pushes, respond like, I totally value our connection, and that's why I need to recharge solo. Sometimes it helps me show up better when we do hang out. This flips the script from defensive to positive. If they're persistent, use the broken record technique. Repeat your boundary calmly without escalating. I appreciate the invite, but I'm keeping things quiet at home right now. Over time, most people adapt, especially if they see you're consistent and still engage elsewhere. For the rare ones who don't, it might reveal mismatched energies. You're not obligated to maintain relationships that drain you. As Brené Brown says in her work on vulnerability, true belonging starts with self-acceptance, not people-pleasing. Now, let's talk long-term benefits, because embracing this isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. When you prioritize solitude, your mental clarity sharpens. Without constant interruptions, you process thoughts deeper, leading to breakthroughs. Studies from Harvard's Grant Study, a decades-long look at happiness, show that quality alone time correlates with better emotional regulation and longevity. You're less reactive, more intentional. Creatively, game changer. Solitude fosters diffuse mode thinking, where ideas connect subconsciously. Think of how musicians like Bob Dylan retreated to cabins for songwriting magic. In your life, this could mean finally starting that side hustle or solving work puzzles that stumped you. Relationally, it's counterintuitive but true. Better boundaries mean stronger bonds. When you're not depleted, you bring your A game to interactions, listening fully, sharing authentically. Friends notice. They get the real you, not the masked version. One study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people who honor personal space report higher relationship satisfaction. Plus, you attract like-minded folks, those who respect quiet vibes, leading to deeper, low-maintenance friendships. No more obligatory small talk. Hello, meaningful convos. Health-wise, the wins are huge. Chronic social fatigue spikes stress hormones, but solitude lowers them, boosting immunity and sleep. The World Health Organization links social burnout to issues like depression, but protective alone time acts as a buffer. Physically, you might notice more energy for exercise or hobbies, creating a virtuous cycle. And spiritually, if that's your jam, solitude is prime for introspection, meditation, prayer, or just pondering life's big questions. Mystics across traditions, from Rumi to modern mindfulness, gurus like Eckhart Tolle, emphasize silence as the gateway to presence. To make this practical, let's introduce some exercises. First, the solitude audit. For a week, track how you feel before and after social interactions versus alone time. Rate energy on a 1 to 10 scale. Patterns will emerge, validating your needs. Next, boundary scripting. Write out responses for common scenarios like declining a drop-in. Practice saying them aloud to build confidence. Try, I'm in the middle of recharging, but let's plan something out soon. Then, the sanctuary ritual. Each evening, create a wind-down routine. Light a candle, play soft music, journal 3 gratitudes from your day. This reinforces home as sacred, making intrusions feel more out of place. Mindfulness amps this up. Try a simple breath meditation. Sit quietly for 10 minutes. Focus on inhales, exhales. When thoughts wander to guilt or obligations, label them thinking and return to breath. Apps like Headspace have introvert-friendly guides. Or visualization, imagine your home as a glowing bubble, permeable only when you choose. This mental imagery strengthens boundaries subconsciously. Culturally, we're shifting. The pandemic normalized home as haven, with more people embracing cocooning. Books like Susan Cain's, Quiet Champion Introverts, sparking a movement. Join it, read up, listen to podcasts like The Introvert's Edge. Share your journey subtly on social media. You might inspire others feeling the same shame. But what if solitude tips into isolation? Watch for signs. Persistent sadness, disinterest in all connection. If that hits, reach out. Therapy via apps like BetterHelp can help recalibrate. It's about balance, not extremes. Schedule micro-connections, a text exchange, a walk with one friend. This keeps you grounded without overwhelming. As we evolve, society might catch up. Remote work and digital hangs reduce forced in-person stuff, letting us control our space more. Imagine a world where I need alone time is as accepted as I'm busy. You're ahead of the curve, modeling self-care. Reflecting back, the core message is simple yet revolutionary. Your discomfort with visitors isn't a flaw to fix, it's a feature to embrace. Society's extrovert bias has us believing constant openness equals success, but that's a one-size-fits-none lie. By honoring your need for solitude, you're not withdrawing from life. You're diving deeper into it. You're cultivating an inner richness that surfaces in creativity, resilience, and authentic connections. Remember, the hermit isn't hiding, they're illuminating paths others overlook. In a world screaming for attention, your quiet is a radical act of self-sovereignty. Now, let's tackle some Q&A. I've pulled from your feedback, thanks for sharing. It makes this community thrive. First question, what if I live with extroverts who love hosting? How do I not feel like the odd one out? Great one. Communication is key. Sit down during a calm moment and explain your wiring without blame. Use I statements. I feel drained after social time and need alone space to recharge. Propose compromises like designated hosting days or quiet hours. If it's roommates or family, create shared rules, maybe alternate who plans gatherings. Over time, they might appreciate your perspective. Many extroverts envy the introvert's depth. If tensions persist, consider personal retreats, like a weekend solo trip, to reset. Next, I feel guilty. Turning down close friends, won't they think I don't care? Guilt's a common hurdle, rooted in people-pleasing. Reframe. True care means showing up as your best self, not a depleted version. Explain gently, I treasure our friendship, which is why I need to manage my energy. Let's do something low-key instead. Real friends understand. Those who don't might be more about convenience than connection. Practice self-compassion. Journal affirmations like, my needs are valid. Over time, guilt fades as you see relationships strengthen from honesty. Another hot one. How do I handle cultural expectations? In my family, not hosting is seen as rude. Culture adds layers, especially in collectivist societies where community trumps individual. Start by honoring traditions, selectively host small, meaningful events on your terms, like a quiet dinner over a big party. Educate subtly. Share articles or this series to spark dialogue. If push comes to shove, set firm limits. I love our traditions, but I need balance for my well-being. Remember, evolving norms start with individuals. You're paving the way for future generations to prioritize mental health. One more. What if solitude turns boring? How do I keep it engaging? Solitude shines when purposeful. Build a solitude menu. Activities like reading, hiking alone, crafting, or learning online. Rotate to keep fresh. One day, deep dive a documentary, next experiment with baking. Mindfulness apps can add structure. Try guided sessions on presence. If boredom hits, it's often a signal to explore deeper what unmet creative urge is bubbling. Turn it into fuel for growth. Now, your action plan, 5 steps to integrate this into life. Step 1. Assess your current setup. Spend a week logging visitor interactions and energy levels. Note patterns. When do you feel most resistant? What drains versus sustains? This baseline guides changes. Step 2. Redesign your sanctuary. As we discussed, curate spaces, add elements like plants for calm, bookshelves for inspiration, or a do not disturb sign. Declutter to minimize chaos. Even small tweaks like softer lighting can make home feel more protective. Step 3. Master the no. Practice declining scripts for scenarios, family invites, neighbor drop-ins, friend suggestions. Role play with a mirror or trusted pal. Start small, like skipping one casual meetup, and build confidence. Track wins to reinforce the habit. Step 4. Nurture alternatives. Shift social energy outward, suggest virtual hangs, outdoor walks, or public spots. This maintains bonds without home invasion. Invest in quality solo time. Schedule weekly me dates for hobbies or reflection. Join online communities for low-pressure connection. Step 5. Review and adjust. Monthly, reflect. What's working, what's not. Tweak as needed. Life changes, so might your boundaries. Celebrate progress. Treat yourself after a successful boundary set, like a favorite tea or walk. Long term, this mindset shift ripples out. You'll notice sharper focus at work, deeper creativity, even physical vitality from reduced stress. Relationships evolve to mutual respect, weeding out energy vampires. And personally, you'll touch a profound self-acceptance, knowing your rhythm is valid. In a noisy world, your silence becomes strength. As we close, Thanks for joining this journey. If this resonated, drop a comment, share your story or questions for future vids. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for more on mindful living. Remember, your home, your soul, your rules. Embrace the hermit within. The world needs your quiet wisdom. Peace out, stay true to you.